You know, in the business world, there's this huge shift happening. We're moving away from making big decisions based on just intuition and moving towards making them based on data. Today, we're going to dig into why data is the new king and exactly how you can use it. So, let's get right into it.
So let me ask you a question. When your team is trying to decide on, say, a new marketing campaign, what's the final call based on? Is it a gut feeling, that sense that something just feels right? Or is it based on cold, hard facts? That's the exact tension we're going to unpack.
And this slide, well, it lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the old-school intuition-based path. It's all about personal taste and what you think works. But on the other side, you've got the evidence-based approach, which is all about objective metrics and analytics. And let me tell you, the entire industry is moving in one clear direction, and it's toward the evidence.
Now, this big shift, it actually has a name: data-driven decision-making, or DDM for short. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a formal process for using facts and data to steer the ship. It's really about making sure every single strategic choice is grounded in reality, not just in someone's opinion.
So, you might be wondering, where does all this amazing data come from? Well, one of the biggest gold mines is something a lot of businesses still treat like a simple bulletin board: social media. But oh, it is so much more than just a place to post announcements.
I mean, just look at the scale of this thing. It's absolutely staggering. As of April 2023, we're talking 4.8 billion people using social media. Think about that for a second. That is more than half the world's population, all generating data, sharing what they think, and telling us what they like every single second. And every single one of those interactions, every comment, every share, even just a simple follow, it's like a digital breadcrumb. It's a piece of information, a clue that tells a story about your audience, your market, and your brand. The trick is knowing how to unlock that story.
And what a story it tells. This data can reveal pretty much everything. Exactly who your audience is, what they actually like, how they really feel about your products, their overall sentiment towards your brand. You can even spot key market trends as they're happening in real time. This is the raw material for making truly smart decisions.
I absolutely love this quote from David Alston because it just nails the mindset shift you have to make. So many brands use social media like a megaphone, just shouting out messages. But the real power, the real magic comes from listening, from engaging, and using it as a two-way street to build relationships and gather intelligence. Okay, so we've got the data. Awesome. Now what? Well, the next step is to build a repeatable model. This is how you turn all that raw data into a reliable system for success, instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping for a random viral hit.
See, this totally reframes the goal of marketing. The old game was all about chasing viral content, right? But that just brings you a flash of attention and then it's gone. This new model is about building something that actually lasts. Long-term trust, real relationships with fans, and brand value that you can count on. And the core philosophy that makes this whole thing work is so simple but so incredibly powerful. The numbers are the voice of the customer. Not your internal team's opinions, not what the CEO likes, the data. That's what really matters.
So here's where the rubber meets the road. We take all that subjective stuff, phrases like, "it has a nice vibe," or "it feels on brand," and we toss it right out the window. Instead, we only use what's on the right. Cold, hard metrics like engagement rates, conversion numbers, reach, impressions, follower growth, the real stuff.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Let's pull back the curtain and walk through the mechanics of this framework, step by step. We're going to see how to design your marketing with numbers from the ground up.
All right, here's the entire workflow, the big picture. It all starts with something called N1 design. Then we move into defining character rules, which we can use to train an AI. Then we convert all that into actual media. And then come the two most important parts. We test and measure everything, and then we decide with numbers.
Let's break down that first step, because it's the foundation for everything. The N1 customer. Now this is really important. This is not some ideal, made-up persona you dreamed up in a meeting. No. This is one real customer profile defined by actual data you've collected, their age, their life situation, even their typical emotional state. We're starting with reality, not fiction.
Okay, next up, we build a character model. Now, this isn't about personality traits like funny or quirky. It's a set of hard rules. Think of it like setting the dials for your brand's voice. We define three things. Temperature, how emotional are we? Distance, how formal or informal do we sound? And statement strength, Are we making commands or just gentle suggestions? This makes the brand voice consistent and repeatable, something you can even teach to an AI.
And after all that, it all comes down to this one brutally simple rule. If the numbers show your content performed well, your approach was correct. If the numbers show it flopped, your approach was incorrect. That's it. No ego, no debates. The numbers have the final say.
Now, when you start to adopt this kind of model, you'll find it requires a pretty huge shift in how you think about your own job. You're no longer just a content creator. You become a systems designer.
And this slide really shows that evolution perfectly. You're moving away from just being a poster, a creator, a content producer. Instead, you are becoming a decision maker, a model designer. Your job is to build the system, read the data, and make the strategic calls based on what the numbers are telling you.
And think about this. The output of your work isn't just a bunch of social media posts that disappear into the ether. You are building real, tangible, long-lasting assets for your company. Things like documented character models, performance logs that prove what worked and why, and clear decision rules that anyone on the team can use. That's real value.
Look, if you take only one thing away from all this, let it be this slide. The old way was create something, then subjectively judge it, and then try to learn from it. It's messy. The new way is design a system, convert it into media, and then decide with numbers. It's clean, it's objective, it's repeatable, and it builds value over time. Which really just leaves us with one final question. This whole framework gives you a clear path away from all the guesswork of the past and toward a system where success is actually engineered, not just stumbled upon by accident. So the real question is, are you ready to make that shift?